Hey, developers, this is Erik, and today I'm going to talk about 10 new sites that you should know about as a developer. So these are kind of neat sites. These are neat tools, neat frameworks that I think that not a lot of people are talking about, but I just want to talk about these 10 frameworks and websites for a little bit and talk to you a little bit about why they're kind of neat and why I like them. So this is going to kind of be a smorgasbord of different things. If you're new to this channel, my name is Erik. I'm a software developer. I have over 10 years of software development experience. I also work as a front-end full-stack developer. And let's go ahead and begin here. So stay all the way to the end, too, so you can learn everything I'm going to go over here. So before I begin, I just want to let you guys know, if you go to Udemy, and there's actually some links below with some of my favorite courses. They're having a really awesome $10, I think it's $11 sale. You can get any of your courses for $11. I think you can get, I just did a review a month or two ago on Colt Steele's course. It's like literally 40 hours for $10. It's a no-brainer. Pick it up. And if you do, make sure you use some of the links I have down in the description. I get a few bucks if you end up buying them through it. So thanks. So the first site I want to talk about is ViewPress. And I did actually a video on this. I'll make sure it pops up here. So this is kind of a new project. It's a view-powered static site generator. If you guys are in the React world, you may have heard something called Gatsby and a few other things like that. But the nice thing about this, it's really powerful if you need to create it's powerful. It's really powerful. You want to create simple help files, help documents, things like that. It's markdown driven, so you can see here you have the markdown in here, but you can also you also have the full power of Vue.js. You can create different components and you can put everything view-wise in there. So it's really neat to get started with, and you can do a lot of things with it. So I would check that out if you haven't already. The next site I'm kind of interested in is Community. This is a Communities for Open Source. It's by the same people that brought you Nuxt. And so what you can do with this, and it's in beta right now, is if you have an open source project or you know someone that has an open source project, they can register for this, and it gives them a nice way of managing their open source project. So it kind of says in here, managing an open source project can be a nightmare. Question, bugs, and features requests are all mixed together. By answering issues in GitHub, you're helping a lot of open source projects, but few see it to reward to it. So it kind of tries to take some of the headache of managing an open source project, and it creates this really cool interface to do everything that you need to do. So I would check this out if I were you. And also we have the Community. Here's actually sort of like the meta of Community app where they're answering questions, and you can kind of get an idea of a little bit of what it looks like. But you can see here's question, bugs, features, contributors, releases. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in there. Now, I've heard a lot of people talking about Figma recently. And if you don't know Figma, it's like a prototyping tool, a stay-in-one tool for your design. So I know a lot of people use Sketch. There's quite a few other tools out there. But a lot of people have been using this to kind of help prototype and create their design easily before they actually create it in their HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And as you know, if you're working as a web developer, having solid designs first makes things so much easier. And so it has some really cool, powerful editing tools. Has a cool way to do UI with constraints, designs, layout, and grids. Of course, mobile first. Publish components to team library, others to use. So it has some team stuff into it. So you can see here some of the feature by feature. You can actually import your sketches in there. Vector networks, components. I haven't used this, but from everything I see, a lot of people are talking about it. So this might be something you want to look at if you're trying to sketch something out. And I think it's pretty reasonable for pricing wise. Might even have a free one. Let's see your pricing. Yeah, so they have a free one to try out, but the professional is only $12 a month, so it's really cheap. The next one I want to talk about is Envision. So Envision's kind of similar to the other. It's kind of similar to you can create designs better on it. You can create full layouts of your app, so you can do screen per screen. You can do transitions. It's pretty popular. I've used this in a few of my projects. So you can do mobile app prototypes, wireframes, element types, and you can get some inspiration. So it's really easy to use. So I think kind of a lot of people have been moving from Sketch to either Figma or Envision to do their prototypes. So I think that's well worth checking out. And you can see here Envision is pretty popular for sure. Another one that a lot of people are talking about is Netlify or Netlify. So you can build, deploy, and manage modern web projects with Netlify. You can connect your repositories, add your build settings, and you deploy your website. So it just makes it really easy to do all that. And it's the pricing is really affordable. You can see even $0 a month. It just, as you scale and get bigger, I believe it starts at $25 per month if you get a lot of requests. So you can build your whole website and deploy it. You can even do identity management, forms, teams. So there's a lot of stuff it can do. And I would highly recommend to take a look at Netlify right now. Now, the next couple of tools are actually a little different. One is Rxjs. So I've been using Rxjs a lot, and it's kind of a way for computing asynchronous and event-based program by using observable sequences. So you're almost using streams. I've been using this a lot in the Angular world, and it actually is kind of in the Angular world. It's highly recommended that you use it, and it's built into Angular. So it's just kind of a smarter way of handling events and actions, and you can see here there's a button event here, and with Rxjs it's handled this way. You can actually pipe operators. You can do throttles and delays and debounces, and it's kind of a different way of thinking. And the nice thing about this too is if you write your app with a lot of Rxjs, what happens one day you need to rewrite in a different language. Rxjs is really portable, so you can use it in anything really. Rxjs is built into Angular. There is some libraries for Vue as well, and I'm sure you can get it working with React. Here's it with Flow right here. So there's just a ton of things you can do with Rxjs, and Rxjs 6 I believe just came out. So you can do forks, concats. So you kind of build and build your events, and when you reach out to servers, and you can use all these different observables to do it, and it makes a lot of sense. It's way beyond the scope of this video, but it's something I really like and I'm getting more and more into. GraphQL, I think it's a query language for your API. I don't know, GraphQL has kind of blown up in the last year or two. A lot of people are talking about it. It's a query language for APIs. It's definitely something I want to do a video on eventually. So they have GraphQL provides complete and understandable description of the data in your API, gives clients the power to ask exactly what they need and nothing more. So it's like a really easy way to create your API in the back end, and you can get your resources real quickly. I haven't used it, but it's something I definitely want to jump into and get more familiar with. And that kind of brings me to GraphCMS, which is a headless CMS. So, back in the day, there's been a lot of ways you can make websites. Sometimes people put like a WordPress site or a Drupal site in the front end, and then they have like a subdomain for the actual web application. But nowadays, people are kind of moving away from WordPress. I mean, WordPress is still extremely popular for a lot of different projects, but some people want to create custom apps in the front end, but they don't want to have to recompile or talk to a developer every time they want to add content to a site. They want it to be really simple and easy, and that's where GraphCMS, it actually uses GraphQL, and it has like the headless CMS, so you can tie GraphCMS into your existing web app, and then all your marketing guys and other people in your corporation or business can log into GraphCMS and make changes, and they don't have to worry about talking to a developer, and they can add blog articles, and you can easily build your API, manage your content, connect your platforms, and it uses the powerful GraphCMS. So this is really cool. I'm going to be deep diving into this. It has pretty good docs too, and it has some starter projects you could see here, even Next and Nuxt and Vue.js. If you're not using Apollo, you can still get vanilla JS up and running quickly. The docs are pretty good, so I think GraphCMS is really neat, and it's really affordable. You have a free plan and a free plan as well. So when you're building your web app, might be some you should look at. And another thing I like is bracket pair polycolorizer. This is just a extension for Visual Studio Code, and it just makes these nice little brackets, different colors, so you know where they're all at. You can set different settings. And then to round it all off, I like this podcast. It's called Syntax.fm. It's by the guys Wes Bosk and Scott Talinsky. That has some really cool information about the latest and greatest in JavaScript and web development in the world. And they're two web developers that I look up to. And I've talked to Wes a few times, and he's always been awesome. And I highly recommend his courses. Actually, I have linked to his courses in my description below. If you're interested in some of his courses and you want to buy it, use the link in my description too. I'll get a few bucks. So that's all I got today. I hope you guys like the overview, some 10 tools that I've been using. What do you guys think about this? Do you think GraphQL is going to be the future? Let me know. Bye. Take care.